Welcome to Daniel's Inferno. My name is Daniel. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you have a moment, please like, subscribe, share, and join the conversation below. I'd love to hear from you. So today we will be talking about Peter MacKay. For those of you who don't know, Peter MacKay is running to be the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, and he was at one point a front runner. He has made a series of gaffes. I actually did a video about that at one point. So if you want to get caught up on everything that he's done, I do have a video on that. However, he looks to be trying to score political points based off of the Nova Scotia tragedy we had. So our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, I don't think he's done this properly. I'm not saying doing it in principle is wrong, but how he's done it, I think, is wrong. So Justin Trudeau has introduced a ban on assault weapons. I think it was about 1,500. That was the list, about 1,500 types of weapons. And people who already own those types of weapons have a 2-year grandfather period. Now, in the past, when we've had grandfather periods for legislation involving firearms, the grandfathering usually lasts the period of the person's life. So this shorter period is new, you could say. Um, and I don't think that doing it right this moment, I know the thought process behind it. You know, we just had that tragedy a little while ago in Nova Scotia. And again, our hearts go out to the victims of that. And, you know, he said we need to do more than give them our condolences. And I agree. I think that, firstly, an investigation needs to be done on how the perpetrator had an RCMP vehicle and uniform when he was never in the RCMP. I think that is a good place to start. Um, a lot of Canadians agree with this assault weapon ban. So let's get into what Peter MacKay had to say about it.
Friends, at a time when all Canadians are still grieving the loss of the 22 innocent victims of the largest mass shooting in Canadian history back home in Nova Scotia, Justin Trudeau has chosen to take advantage of this tragedy by releasing his long promised changes to Canada's firearms regulations. The timing of this is crass and beyond the pale. Je ne peux pas croire que Justin Trudeau utilise cette tragédie pour punir les honnêtes propriétaires d'armes à feu au Canada. As a Nova Scotian, I'm outraged that Justin Trudeau is using this tragedy to punish law-abiding firearms owners across Canada. Instead of focusing on how he could make changes that would actually stop criminals and save lives, things like tightening up U.S. border security and stopping the flow of illegal guns that are crossing the border from the United States, Justin Trudeau is using this tragedy in Nova Scotia to advance his ideological goals. Il faut renforcer.
So that is what, in essence, has gotten a lot of people upset. Um, as there's 30 seconds left, it's really, I don't think the timing of him coming out with this was good. I also don't think how he's worded it is good. And I don't think the fact that he playing the I'm a Nova Scotian card is good. You know, if you look at the numbers, it's in the high 70s, low 80s of Nova Scotians that were polled agree with this ban. So when he's saying, as a Nova Scotian, I'm outraged, on one hand, I understand what he's saying, that no one should use a tragedy to further their political agenda. What we should do is try to focus on how to avoid tragedies in the future and how we can best help those that were affected by the tragedy. Um, you know, talking about tightening up border security, that is a valid point to bring up. It is some of the things he says have validity, but it's lost in the stupidity of what he is saying and how he is saying it. Um, you know, I am I can legally in Canada get a gun, and I can tell you that there are very rigorous standards in place at the moment to obtain a firearm in Canada. It's quite it's quite a system. It's nothing like in some states. In certain states, you can go on your lunch break and pick up as as much ammo and, a humongous assault weapon or a very dangerous weapon, uh, again, on your lunch break. So Canadians are responding extremely poorly. They are very upset with how Peter MacKay has acted, and with his statement on all of this. So I thought we would show a Twitter reaction to this. And bear in mind, a lot of these people, even if you don't agree with uh, what they're saying comes from a place of compassion and a place of caring and a place of wanting to stop tragedy. And I mean, the most logical step, it would seem to people at least, would be to ban assault weapons, especially those that are used in different mass shootings. Um, Again, I don't disagree in principle with what Justin Trudeau is trying to do. I I don't think how he's gone about it is the best personally. Um, However, so Andrew Scheer and Peter MacKay don't give a damn what 80% of Canadians want. They only care about the 20% of angry, paranoid, violent, stupid, antisocial, a-holes who want to intimidate others with assault rifles, for it's all they have going for them in their lives, their guns. Now, a lot of people make these very sweeping, generalizing statements about gun owners. I don't think wanting to protect uh, your right to a firearm makes you an antisocial, a-hole, paranoid, and violent. I really think that's a stigma that is attached to gun owners, unfortunately. And I mean, when you look at what happens when you ban guns. So if we use London, UK, as an example, they basically banned all guns, uh, everything of that nature, and knife crime went through the roof. Um, Violent people are always going to find a way to hurt others. Throughout human history, it's just a fact. People could pick up a rock, people could pick up kitchen utensils, they can use power tools, just tools of any nature to be violent with. Um, it's a fact. It is a fact that violent people will find a way to hurt others. And we try to take steps in society to curb that damage that can be done by them. So, as a Canadian, I am outraged that Peter MacKay is using this tragedy in Nova Scotia to attack the federal government. Banning these assault weapons is a bold and welcome decision. That's just the video that we looked at. Peter MacKay's tone-deaf statement today on banning assault rifles and Andrew Scheer's asinine comments show that neocon governments have no place in making safe policy. They are completely out of touch as a party. I think a lot of people in the higher ups of the Conservative Party are unfortunately out of touch in a lot of ways. And as a conservative, I can easily say that. I can. But again, I think making sweeping generalizations about social conservatives, especially, which is one facet of conservatism that is highly attacked today. Um, I have aspects of social conservatism to me, and that doesn't mean that I'm anti-gay, I'm anti-LGBTQ plus, I'm not anti-trans, I'm none of those things. If I had any sort of policy decision or any sort of authority in that matter, the will of the people is what's important. Someone's positions, how they feel, they can feel one way, but want to fulfill the will of the people. And unfortunately, because not a lot of politicians follow that these days, they're more about fulfilling their own personal agendas, as we can see with Peter MacKay today. Um, they're not willing to actually fulfill what the people want. They want to do what they want. Shame on Peter MacKay for pushing his own agenda after a mass shooting. 78% of Canadians agree with the ban. Peter MacKay, the conservative bozo who so gleefully wore a sweater with an assault rifle embroidered on it. Now this dunce spews the crap at Justin Trudeau as pushing some sort of ideological agenda when he is actually legislating safety measures 80% of Canadians want. So this individual, Bruce Arthur, and this tweet in particular, I'd actually like to focus on. So as you can see, Bruce Arthur, and he is a columnist for, I believe it's Globe. We'll take a look in a second. He's a columnist and a contributor to the Sports Network, or TSN. So this is what he had to say. Peter MacKay is going for social conservative and therefore anti-trans cred, while Aaron O'Toole goes with Canada proud slash post-millennial shitposting. Great race. This is a sweeping generalization about social conservatives. Now, you can say that Peter MacKay, there is proof that Peter MacKay is anti-trans because he actually provides this email here by Brian Platt, and Brian Platt is a contributor for the like he covers Parliament Hill uh, mostly, and he got this email. Brian, I never wanted to do this. Aaron O'Toole, who is another member of the Conservative leadership race, has said a lot of untrue and disappointing things during this leadership race and made a lot of accusations that I think, frankly, are beneath him. He's been a good friend in the past, someone I supported and worked with. While I haven't always agreed with him, like when he voted in favor of the transgender rights bathroom bill in 2012, I've always respected that his motivations were positive. So you can say that that statement there shows that Peter O'Toole, or Peter MacKay, sorry, I mixed their name, that Peter MacKay is anti-trans or at the very least has a negative bias and negative opinions about transgender rights and people who agree with transgender rights. You can say that without making the sweeping generalization that that's what all social conservatives think. Peter MacKay is not the leader of he doesn't think for every social conservative. He doesn't. So the last thing I thought we should talk about is the fact that his droning on about how he was a Nova Scotian, especially, has gotten a lot of people very upset that he said that, especially that as a Nova Scotian. So, you can see a lot of people using the hashtag as a Nova Scotian. I am very proud of our Liberal government for the gun reform ban today. As a Nova Scotian, I am telling you to eat shit. As a Nova Scotian, I can confirm that's exactly what happened. It's surprising that as a Nova Scotian, Peter MacKay is taking an angry stance against a policy that 83 of Nova Scotians support. It's almost like he's out of touch. As a Nova Scotian, I see you tweeting frantically to try to get your last tweet from being ratioed from here to the moon and failing spectacularly. It's hilarious and couldn't happen to someone more deserving. As a Nova Scotian living away, I'm outraged at Peter MacKay that he's outraged. Now is exactly the time to do this. The only better would have been years before, and honestly, it doesn't go far enough. Last one. As a Nova Scotian, you don't speak for all of us. I do not want you, someone who takes advantage of this tragedy to further your political agenda, to be our PM. This is so hypocritical, saying you wouldn't use a tragedy to push an agenda, and at the end, you do. And I think these are valid criticisms. I mean, I don't know about the this not going far enough part or this being the best time to do it. Again, I understand that this was a policy position that the Liberal government, like it was one of their promises. And it makes sense in one case because the tragedy just happened. On the other hand, at least to me, it feels like the focus should be more on how we are going to get out of this quarantine without an extremely horrible recession and without things falling apart on us. And I'm not saying he isn't taking that seriously, but that, in my opinion, should be the top policy priority that he is pursuing at the moment. Um, Let me know. Am I wrong? Am I out of touch? Is this the best time because the tragedy just happened? Maybe it is. Um, for Peter MacKay, a lot of Canadians, I think it's not only that he's out of touch, but it's the fact that he came out with this announcement now. It's been not even 2 weeks yet. I think it'll be 2 weeks this weekend since the tragedy happened. And it seems like he's trying to use that tragedy to further a political agenda. And no one on either side of the aisle should be given the chance to do that or should be allowed to get away with doing that. That's wrong. It's horrible and it's disgusting and it's indefensible. No one should do that. Peter MacKay, I think, is a horrible example of a Canadian conservative. I really do. And he is making the conservative movement in Canada look very asinine when this past election, the Conservative Party did quite well. You know, the Liberals formed a minority government. We have a first past the post system. So our system is different than a proportionally representative system or the US, who has um, what, the, the college. And, you know, the Conservatives had a chance and still do if we take things slowly, smartly, and in respect of the Canadian wish of what the people want. The Conservative Party can actually do good. We saw that under Stephen Harper. He did a very good job, in my opinion. He did a very good job. And I'm not going to say he was perfect, but he helped us ride out the 2008 financial crisis and come out of it okay. And that was important. And, I think I've said in a past video, I voted for Trudeau the first time around because I didn't think that Stephen Harper was going forward the right choice. And I thought we needed something bold, something new, and we needed some chances and some risks to be taken. Um, you know, with risks, there's a higher reward and a higher chance of failure, obviously, but we, as a country, needed that. I don't think Justin Trudeau has done a very good job as our PM. I'm not going to say that he's not done anything right, but I think he has been very slow. He was very slow, at least in his response to the virus. He has not done a good job on dealing with the Iranian plane issue that still families are waiting for answers on. And, you know, he has not really gotten a lot of policy passed. He's in a minority position now, especially. In his first 4 years, to me at least, it seemed like his biggest accomplishment was having a gender balanced or gender neutral cabinet where it was a 50-50. And okay, great. I'm so happy for you. Now let's focus on something that's important. That I don't care about a person's gender. I care about a person's qualifications and how they're going to get things done. And Peter MacKay is not going to get things done in the right way for Canadians. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Daniel's Inferno.